Okay, today we're going to do work with decimals. So we have this crossword to do with decimals, and here's a problem we have to solve right here. Anna added 2.3, 0.06, and 1.9. What is the correct answer? Why don't we review what we do with decimals when we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and then we'll come back and answer this question. How does that sound? First place, shall we? So this is our problem. We've got Anna who added these three digits together, and what's the correct answer? So here we go. We're going to stack it because it's addition. So we're going to have 2.3 plus 0.06 plus 1.9. Notice I have lined up all of my decimals. And that's what we do when we add and subtract. We line those decimals up. So now we have nothing over here. A 0 plus a 6 plus a 0. So we're going to bring our 6 down. 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12. So we're going to put the 2, carry the 1. Here's our decimal coming down from above there. There it is. And now we take 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is 4. So we put 4 down. 4.26. So 3 across should be 4.26. Alrighty. That's what we got to do to complete this page. And if you have any questions, let me know. Alright. So decimals, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Alright, so let's talk about this. So when we have decimals, when we multiply, all right, let's add and subtract first. So we've got 0.01 plus 3.2. Let's start with that. First of all, it's much easier to do this if we stack them. So let's stack them. 0.01, and we stack by lining up our decimals when we add and subtract. So 3.2. Notice how we have our decimals aligned right here. So that will keep everything organized for us. And now we're going to add. So we bring our 1 down. There's nothing here in this spot, so it's essentially a 0. So now we're going to add, and we get a 1 here. 2 plus 0 is 2. We'll bring our decimals down, and then our 3 plus nothing up in the corner there. So we have, for our answer, 3.21. All right, so when we add and subtract, we are just going to align the decimals. Why don't we subtract these two numbers now and see what's different about that? So 3.2 minus 0.01. Again, we've lined up those decimals. And so that way it keeps everything organized. But there's a problem, right? There's nothing here in this spot. So we're going to call that a 0. There's nothing there. So we're going to have to borrow. We're going to have to make this 10. This becomes 1. So now 10 minus 1 is 9. 1 minus 0 is 1. Here comes our decimal. We're going to bring it down. And then we got our 3 minus nothing there is 3. So 3.20 minus 0.01 is 3.19. So that's how we add and subtract decimals. You line the decimals up. Let's try if we, let's go ahead and why don't we go ahead and divide or multiply. So let's take 3.1 again times 0.05. All right, now you see I lined them up, but I shouldn't have done that. We don't line them up when we multiply and divide. So boom, that's out of there. We just simply write them down. So there we go, 3.1 times 0.05. And multiply as usual, 1 times 5 is 5, 3 times 5 is 15. Now here's where the decimals come in. After you're done multiplying, we have how many decimal spaces? We have 1, 2, 3. There's 3 numbers that are past the decimal point, or 3 decimal spots. So we have to go 1, 2, 3 and put our decimal there. So 0.05 times 3.1 is 0.155. 0.155. So we go ahead and multiply as usual, and then we have to count decimal spots, and then we go ahead and move the decimal on our final answer. That's how we multiply with decimals. All right, one more. Let's divide. So let's take 3.1 divided by 0.05. All right. So what we have to do is get rid of, we can't have a decimal outside the house here. 3.1's in the house, 0.05's outside the house. So we have to go 1, 2 to get rid of that decimal. So we're going to go 1, 2 to get rid of the decimal. Now we have 5 really left over outside the house and inside the house. We have 310. So now we divide as usual. 5 goes into 36 times 31. So we have 30. Subtract, we have 1. Let's bring down the 0. 5 goes into 10 twice. And then we have 10, no remainder. So we have 62, and this decimal comes up and sits right here. So we have 62. So 3.1 divided by 0.05 is 62. So when we divide, the big key is moving the decimal over to get it out of that number that is outside the house. Whatever we do outside the house, we have to do inside the house. And then we divide. All right, so let's go back to page 1 and do our problem that we had.